Hello everybody, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us at BAAD to view Jazzmun's important and impactful film in full bloom and to kick off our weekend of Trans Day visibility celebrations and for joining me for my birthday celebration kickoff. I've known Jazzmun for, I think, since 1997 or 1998. We actually both auditioned for the feature film Punks, which Jazzmun is featured in, and next year is the 25th anniversary, is that correct? Yes. So let me go ahead and read Jazzmun's biography so you know exactly who she is. First, I have to say Jazzmun is an icon. She is a legend. We were at a club last night and somebody was teasing us. Jazzmun Crayton is an actor, performer, filmmaker, writer, and poet. For over 25 years, her career has combined show business and advocacy. She's appeared in numerous television and movie roles, most notably on Roseanne, The Wayans Brothers Show, The CSI, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, and the feature film Punks. Jazzmun is the Associate Director of Access, Prevention, Advocacy, Intervention, and Treatment, APAIT. She is also a board member of the City of Los Angeles Transgender Advisory Council, which advises elected officials and civic leaders on critical issues facing the transgender community. Jazzmun is the co-producer of the play which you just viewed, Lovely Bouquet of Flowers, and the accompanying documentary which you just viewed, In Full Bloom, Transcending Gender. Jazzmun, thank you for coming all the way from California. Thank you. So, as an artist and a filmmaker and a playwright, where do you draw inspiration from?
First, I want to say thank you to all of you for taking the time out to come and celebrate, right? Celebrate life, your life, our lives, the human experience. So thank you so much. So to answer your question, everything inspires me. Like I was inspired, I got lost on the train. It's my first time here in the Bronx. I've been to New York several times. I've been filmed in the Meatpacking District, like NYPD Blue years ago. Like I filmed all over, but oftentimes you don't take public transportation like when you're filming. They send a car, they send something.
I'm sorry.
So I told
Shady.
I told Nahshon, because Nahshon, was saying you can take an Uber. I was like, no, I want to get on the train. I want to learn to ride the train. So I went on the 5, I guess. It took me somewhere else, and then you gotta go back. And I was like, that's life, right? That's a beautiful metaphor for life, because even though I went on a journey, and it took me, different places, I wound up exactly where I needed to be on time here with you. And so I was inspired by the whole process because someone was on that train to help me. They said, go back to the stop. Even the young lady that was on the train, she walked me underneath to the other side so I wouldn't miss the train coming here. So everything is inspiring, everything gives me hope.
And we can tell them about the ride that you got here later. Time.
I don't know if the gentleman came, but she sent me the wrong way, so this guy saw me walking. And he was like, do you need a ride? I was like, I would love a ride. And he just literally pulled in front of here because I didn't know that it was in this building. So it was great.
So Lovely Bouquet of Flowers played at a packed Greenberg Theater in Hollywood in June of 2013. The documentary In Full Bloom evolved from the play. At what point during the progression of the play did you decide to create a documentary, or was that the plan all along?
No, so Lana, who was in the film, she was working on her own piece with Michael Brewer, who is a local director, writer in LA. And so she brought him to one of the rehearsals that we were having, and we struck up a conversation. And I always wanted to document, something at the time. This is before social media, really. This is before Lauren Cox, before the tipping point. This is like 2012, 13. So this is before it was popular to be out and about and say, I'm trans or I'm non-binary, whatever, however anyone's identifying today, which is beautiful, but...
And to get it correct, your pronoun is?
Okay, so I use glamorous feminine pronouns.
That was gender peers.
Yeah, gender peers, yeah. I like to play with it because I don't want anyone being too comfortable with my identity, right? Because you're not allowing me room to grow, to evolve, and to change. And then I want to restrict it in someone's mind or idea how it needs to be. So if you see something that you may not agree with, well, you was like, well, she told us not to be too comfortable in the first place, right? Because right now with these bills that are going on, I don't want to get too sidetracked, but it's harming people in the most inhumane way. Because if there are no policies in place to protect us and take care of us, that means we don't exist. So say if I get in trouble or something happens to me, God forbid, and I need medical services, and you deny me, I can die on the sidewalk, So it's that deep. I try to keep it, I try to stay in a happy town, right? Positive town. But, if I have to go deep, it gets that deep. So to answer your question, can you repeat it one more time?
At what point during the progression of the play did you decide to create a documentary?
So it was organic, right? It wasn't something that I really knew I was going to do, but it happened right there on the record in the middle of rehearsal, and we followed through with it. He signed, we came to agreement, he was in agreement with it, and we made it happen all together. So it was very organic. It wasn't like I had to go find him. We just had to have a real discussion about what was desired in this process.
I'm going to read 2 or 3 reviews of the film. A roller coaster of emotions. I could not stop watching it. Julie Dash, filmmaker, Daughters of the Dust, and the Rosa Parks story. In full bloom spotlights the transgender community, going behind the scenes to pull back the curtain on the trans experience. Travell Anderson, The Los Angeles Times. A masterful narrative that encompasses a complete and diverse roller coaster of trans life. Zachary Drucker, producer, actress, Transparent. During this current, very conservative, negative, and violent political climate, this is a film that is a must-see for all. Rosalind Blumenstein, author and clinical psychologist. In Full Bloom is a film with a diverse cast and a diverse production staff. Was that intentional from the onset?
Completely. So my experience, I acted before, but my experience with this was I had to Eve Asner's The Vagina Monologues, at least 3 different productions of it, with 3 different casts of women. It was one of the most grounding and gratifying experiences that I've had, in my acting, because it was very intimate, very personal, and it was, I was learning about the women, right? So I was just moved, and I had so many community friends, so many trans folks that stories hadn't been told, or they didn't have an opportunity to really talk about everything they were talking about here. And I didn't know, I knew I couldn't tell it the same way as my experience with Eve was, but I knew I could create something. And I love flowers, as you saw throughout the film. And so I had told my friend that I wanted to tell some stories, and I wanted to interview a few people, but through the lens of flowers, because I wanted to be able to interject and interwove different versions and different flowers, because my ultimate goal is for it to travel and to go on tour and to place flowers from different parts of the country and the world, have at least a new flower to be interjecting, be able to tell their experience and their stories from wherever they're at that moment in time.
And so what was it like collaborating with your co-producers and cast?
I was a handful. It's 4 executive producers on this, but me and David were the main 2 for the play. And so, me and David bumped heads a lot of times, as you saw. But he was my right-hand man. I believe he was divinely sent to me. I was at a place in my career where, I had been playing sex worker. I was a sex worker on CSI. I was a sex worker in the 40-year-old version of Steve Carell. I was always sexy, but my time was up. I was going to age out of that. And there was other things that I felt I could do, but I felt restricted. And so it was just like a changing point in my life and time. And so this idea and this support came at the right time. And it literally shifted the narrative of my life, for one, how I moved to community, 2, and the work that I got after this experience was completely different. I got to really do some roles. I loved all the roles I did before, but they got more dimensional, right? They had more backstories to them, you know, and they did different things. And I got to wear jeans sometime in some of the roles, so it's great.
You told me, you said that as an actress I felt stagnant and no one was humanizing me, but after the play it led to more acting roles.
Yeah, you know, the stories were limited in 2012, right? We weren't having conversations like this, right? We have social media wasn't, you know, we weren't getting our information so fast. So, you know, we had pagers, you know, the cell phone was still new. I mean, so much has happened so swiftly and so fast. So, you know, the conversation was just different. And sometimes it felt like, there wasn't a lot of talk within the community about what the next, you know, move or step could look like. And so I always knew I wasn't the first or the last or the only one that was doing the work, right? Or doing the kind of work that I was doing. But it was rare that they brought us together a lot, right? I did RuPaul's A Little Bit of Love. I did a video with him and Gaddas came, who's from New York. So I would get invited to different moments, right, in history and time, but they were, you know, they were few and far between, right? And I always believe that trans people should be on every TV show, every movie, making love, you know, in romantic comedies, the nerd, like we exist on every, we're the doctors, the nurses, we should be doing something, somehow we should be written into the narrative of these stories. And so that's why it's so big, you know, right now that, you know, they're creating work or creating, you know, TV projects and movies that are, you know, more inclusive, you know, of everyone's voices because the stories are necessary and they need to be told. And the more you see us, the freer that we can move about and be, right? And people can take some of the sting out of, like, it should be, or you need to act this way, right? And it can take some of the harm off of our lives. And maybe draw families a little bit closer. That's the ultimate goal, because if the child gets to stay in the home with the family, oh my God, their lives are just, it's so much better. They're so much better. They grow up without the fear and the stigma of being trans, right? And what that entails, right? Because oftentimes Black and brown kids are thrown out of their house very young, right? And they're fending for themselves without social skills. So they're on the street and not able to fully function, and then they wind up getting involved in, you know, situations that are not healthy on any level. So my whole thing is always, I love to see when the mother and father show up to the screenings and the whole family. It's really important to me, and I thank you if you all are parents and are, you know, of someone that may be queer, someone that may be of trans TGI. I thank you for being here. Thank you.
Jazzmun, so a moment ago you mentioned something about the goal. What was your goal for the film, and have you accomplished your goal? And let's keep it at 2 minutes for an answer.
Yes, this is so really fast. That's fierce. So really fast, it's done more than I wanted it. Right? I could ever imagine. Right? I've seen the shifts in people's lives. I've seen people actually grow. Yeah, I've lost a few folks. Simone, she passed away. Anthony passed away. One of the ladies that gave her, that lent her voice to this project. I said Simone, Anthony, Octavia, and then, it was four. No, it was four. She, oh my God, her name will come to me, but I lost 4 folks that either lent their voices to the project or they were actually in the film.
I was going to get to that. I'm going to say this real quick. Our goal has always been for In Full Bloom to persist and enlighten the broader public and to stand as a symbol of hope and pride for individuals who face discrimination based on their gender identities. You just mentioned the individuals who passed away.
Leslie Monroe is her name. Leslie Monroe.
How have you honored their lives since they passed? And They passed all during the pandemic, correct?
Not everyone passed during it, but I want to say two. Simone passed during the pandemic, and so did Anthony and Octavia. And it wasn't necessarily because of the pandemic. As she spoke, she was on dialysis, and so she went into the hospital, and she never came out. Right? Anthony slipped at work and got a concussion and died. And then Leslie had a brain hemorrhage. It was so wild, like, and she suffered for a while, but eventually she passed, and then Octavia died in her sleep. So there, I keep showing up here to honor their life. So it was, I guess that was like what is the word I want to use? It was strange. It was strange. It was interesting that that this is in a graveyard or a cemetery.
Well, we're not in a cemetery. Earlier, Jazzmun was telling folks that we're in a cemetery. I said, no, language matters. We're on the ground.
So, it just made me think, like, life, right?
Right. Do you have any future plans for your play, Lovely Bouquet of Flowers?
Like I said, it's a dream. I would love to come here and perform. I would love to, for them to have the experience of, coming to New York and sharing, this work. It's important, and I really think people would enjoy it, and I would enjoy, being on the journey doing it again.
And in full bloom screened at the Pan-African Film Festival in Los Angeles, in one sentence, what happened there? What was the experience like?
It was just amazing. I did not know how it was going to be perceived. We reached out to a lot of, what do you call those? Film festivals. And
we won't name them all.
But we got into a few.
Yeah.
And the Pan-African Film Festival was so kind and generous to us. They actually showed the film twice. And so, at the Magic Johnson Theater. So I was really grateful.
And the audience reaction?
It was sold out, both shows. So.
You told me that people were crying.
I was good.
People were crying. She didn't pay me to say this. People were crying. Why is trans visibility important, and what does it mean to you?
I guess I said it earlier, right? Visibility provides an opportunity for people to live the best version of their lives, right? It creates safety, strength, opportunity, choices. It creates hope, right? Knowing that you're affirmed for being who you are, where you're at in your journey, and people allow you the space and the openness and the kindness to just evolve. It's a beautiful thing.
I forgot to mention that you work at Jazzmun.
Yes. So because of this film, I like to say, it was the next move was I started working in mental behavior health. So I work at an agency called, now it's APAD, initially it was Asia Pacific AIDS Intervention Team, but we've expanded. And so the acronym stands for Access to Advocacy, Prevention, Intervention, and Treatment. And so we work in mental health, behavior health, and housing. So I asked my boss if we could open up a house, and he helped me get federal funding, which is rare. And actually, it's not really happening too many places, but we opened up the first trans housing. It's called Casa Zuma. And we've been open since the beginning of 2018. So we've been running 5 years strong, and it's a federally funded house, so it's a big deal. And now from that house, we've opened up 8 other houses. We have a forensics house. We have a HIV, folks that are HIV positive, and then we suffer from some other mental issues or substance issues. And we have 2 forensic houses, so folks that are coming out of incarceration as a alternative plan for keeping people in. They're releasing folks and having them reacclimate into community. It's the most beautiful thing. My motto that I tell people every single day of my life, I said, I see little miracles every day. Because a miracle for me is just a shift in someone's perception or thought about who they are. And just to see, folks coming in from Russia, the Congo, Central America with no paperwork, not speaking the language, trying to move and navigate through our systems that are not designed with any of us in mind, but definitely not them, and figure out a way to make it. It brings me to tears. Like when I see them out in the world, and I just, wave, like do your thing, babe, but just to know we had a part in, elevating and supporting someone's lives, it's a major thing. So it's great work that we do.
And just briefly tell us about your client, Devani Johnson. Is it Devani?
Yeah, so just really briefly, last year, one of my clients was shot at a Ralph's supermarket. So the security guard shot her. I'm sure she was acting up, right? But nothing in the store justified her dying, right? And so that's where visibility and understanding and affirmation come into play. Because she literally died in front of the door of the store, right? I'm sure there was some altercation, but nothing, I say it again, justifies her being shot at the door. And so the one thing that went through my mind is, why does a security guard at a supermarket have a gun, a loaded gun? So it made the news, but the telling, that's another thing, how the news spoke on her, it just made sense. She was just not even a black trans woman, just a random woman that was wilding out and got shot. And so no one really understood the impact. And it was almost like a story that was just like, whew. They didn't run it like they run all the other stories. And I don't know why that was, but I made sure that we were able to go to that store and bring, some community leaders and really honor her life. And she was homeless. And what people didn't know was her birthday the day before. So she was in there trying to get food and, liquor. She turned 26. So she was a child, I'm not making excuses, but that's why visibility and understanding and compassion is important here, right? Because I think if the security guard had some empathy training or some type of training, it could have made, in the store in general, I think it could have went a different direction. But now her life is a symbol or a representation of what needs to be done in the community.
Go ahead and end this now. In 2017, I first discovered the Bronx Gaddas dance in 2013 or 14. So I've had a relationship with them for over a decade now. And we are moving into their 25th anniversary, which is going to be April the 15th or the 16th. Congratulations. And so with that, in 2017, I had participated in Transvisionaries, which was produced by BAAD, which inspired me to create TRANSBRATIONS Arts Collective, which Jazzmun is a co-director. Transvisionaries was a Bronx monthly live performance series featuring cabaret singers, poets, comics, musicians, dancers, and performers who identified as transgender or gender nonconforming. BAAD presented these free, open to the public performances at restaurants and cafes in the South Bronx and turned them into one-night art centers. I owe a lot of thanks to BAAD because they actually inspired me to do an event in 2020 called Honoring Our Transcestors, and then out of that, TRANSBRATIONS Arts Collective blossomed or bloomed, both. So, for decades, Jazzmun's work in entertainment and activism has inspired generations and impacted the lives of many people. Since 2020, because of her ongoing support of TRANSBRATIONS Arts Collective, she's created more visibility and more impactful financial opportunities for us and our members, LZ Love and Ebony Lane, ensuring our safety and allowing us to continue to dream, to create, to prosper, and to cultivate our artistic craft, build community, and celebrate our joy. Jazzmun, thank you for your support.
I can't thank Nahshon enough for, I always tell people, like, the main thing we don't ever want to do is write ourselves out of our own imagination, but to know that we live vibrantly in other people's imagination, it feels so good. So I just want to say thank you so much, because it's really a gift and an honor to be here, and this,
in the Boogie Down Bronx.
Yeah, the Boogie Down Bronx on this weekend, Good Friday, holding just all of it, right? Honoring not only, ourselves, but honoring community at large. So, thank you.
And I told Jazzmun if she asks right now, I'll take her on a safari with me in Africa. So, she's going to be on her best behavior. Charles, Arthur, Marcus, Heather, and Camila. Thank you all, and Carlos, thank you all for accommodating and hosting us at BAAD and for your support. Now it's time for some cupcakes and apple sparkling cider. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you. Thank you.
Happy birthday, Nahshon.
Thank you. My birthday is April 1st. Thank you.